probability of dying too young from a non-communicable disease in Kenya is 18%. This accounts for 100,000 deaths annually. Dr. Walid Mohammed, who works at Aga Khan Hospital, defined fast foods as fried foods, adding that the method of food preparation determines whether the food is healthy or unhealthy. Cases of youth falling victim of non-communicable diseases are on the rise. Dr. Lois Nyanjau gives an insight on this.
We know that youth are increasingly being affected with NCDs. We don't have hard statistics to say exactly this number in Kenya, but we know that the youth, quite a number of them have risk factors for getting NCDs. Risk factors are characteristics or behaviors that someone engages in that puts them at risk of developing at a certain condition. So for instance, tobacco use, alcohol use, eating unhealthy foods, not exercising enough, those are risk factors that put youth in a vulnerable position where they tend to develop NCDs earlier than what has been known before.
We do a lot of fast food because of time, class, and stuff. We don't have that much time to go out, have a decent meal. Yeah, and supper, same thing. Way too tired, just have to get something simple and eat.
My diet depends because most of the time, because I live alone, I don't have a family. I find it quick to get something like fries or fried chickens to eat for supper or lunch because I don't have to cook, especially when I'm tired in the evening. I feel like I just want to eat something ready that I can access to, then I call it a day.
It's the simplest thing you can get. Like fast food is, as it said, it's fast food. It's just simple. You get it as quickly as possible than going to cook. Go to the market, get this and this salad that.
Well, what I can say basically on that, it depends on the kind of the upbringing foundation that has been given to the children. Like for example, if you've been encouraging the child to be eating healthy foods like fruits, these less fatty, these junk foods, you try to manage them. I think the habit can also be taken to the university. Even though there are some influences, some peer influences that he or she might encounter at the campus, but it's actually something that is within that particular child can actually inform the kind of decision they take as far as their diet is concerned at that particular time. So I think as parents we have some little bit of influence, only to the extent at which we are trying to bring the children up, and beyond that, then it now remains the sole responsibility of that particular child to look into it, whether he or she maintain the same culture or change it as per the situation. But with constant sort of a communication or constant touch with the parent can actually try to create an enabling environment for the child to maintain a healthy diet at the university.
And how often do you cook?
Most of the time it can be twice a week. Especially on weekends because I have a lot of time and I can go to the market, buy some veggie and just put them. So when I need to cook, I will cook, but most of the time I prefer junk.
My mom fights my meals. like every time. And she does know I eat a lot of junks. You can see my size there. But she can't do anything, you know. She'll force me to eat healthy food, but it's just that once in a while when I'm with her. And it's a minimal time compared to when I'm alone. Yeah.
As a parent and as a youth, what the kind of advice that I'd like to share with fellow parents or fellow youth and parents in general is that the current statistics about non-communicable diseases has actually stated that 50% of the bed occupancies in major hospitals in Kenya are occupied by people who are suffering from non-communicable diseases. Non-communicable diseases are the kind of diseases that are associated with lifestyle diseases like hypertension, diabetes, cancer, and obesity. These are lifestyle diseases which can be managed without necessarily incurring a lot of cost in time to manage. They are very easy to deal with because it's just a question of someone identifying the kind of food he or she eats, the kind of physical exercises that he or she does on a daily basis. And true to it, it's just a question of looking into it that you have a lifestyle that is healthy, with both in exercise, diet, and physical exercise in general.
From my understanding, it's once you start gaining weight, especially around your waist, it increases the chances of risk, especially to hypertension or maybe high blood pressure, diabetes. So for me, most of the time that doesn't reflect on me because I'm still small, so there's no way I can find myself having those diseases. But when maybe I start gaining weight, I'll just quit and go to natural diet.
So it's like a daily thing around this place. So in our canteen we have junkies and we have healthy food, but it's a rare case people only eat sweet things. You know, healthy food is not that tasty compared to junkies. So if someone just wants something sweet, something we can just have in a sweet way or just something to just keep you away from.
For the lovers of junk food, Mr. Evans is a living example of the health burdens that come with bad eating habits.
Now, stroke does not just come. Stroke comes because of various reasons. One, what you eat is essentially what you are. You will find that we are eaten badly, especially we are eating a lot of junk food that has really negatively impacted on us, like a lot of food with a lot of cholesterol, and then others with things like malazi, chips, things that have a lot of cholesterol. With this cholesterol chokes our veins, and then the veins cannot pass the correct amount of blood to the brain. Things like smoke, things like beer. These are the things that we need to avoid strongly. Because, like me, previously I want to admit that I drank beer, but this is because I did not really get correct information on it. So I could not like youngsters now to get involved in these things without getting a word from us, especially us as survivors, so that we don't end up like we are. Now, I have talked about things like smoking, things like drinking beer, things like cholesterol. You see, the effects of these things is that they interfere with the blood content of the brain, so that some will make the blood to be very very heavy, such that the heart is actually I find it very difficult to pump it. There are things like salt intake. That is also very bad. Because salt intake, that is salt is sodium chloride. No, that's a metal. Chemically, that's a metal. So this metal, if taken over years, actually it interferes with the blood circulation, such that when when the heart is now pumping the blood to go into the brain and other parts of the body, it pumps very little. So what the resultant fact is that when it cannot pump the adequate blood, now the pressure starts going high. Now, once it goes high, it goes beyond limits. Now, this is when you have things like stroke. In fact, this is when you have things like diabetes. This is when you have things like I've talked about diabetes. I've talked about stroke. Other funny cardiovascular diseases. So this is why we want this information to get to the youth, so that they can understand this thing early, instead of leaving them to grow with it until it affects them. Yeah, it's good to get the information early.
The professionals will tell you it's a lifestyle ailment. 80% of the strokes are preventable. So we can live, as youths, we can live a life where we can avoid this stroke, so that we can live a normal life free from stroke by eating well. That is a balanced diet. You avoid food that causes obesity. You exercise frequently, so that you know this. Our body is smart. You can say it's smart. When you give it excess food, it uses what it needs, what it requires. And then the excess, other than the one that is digested and goes out, the excess goes to form the fat. the fat that go to the veins and compress them to make your blood pressure go high and maybe lead to the stroke. So you must avoid cholesterol, you must exercise well, you must by all means avoid smoking and abuse of alcohol. Yes. So if you avoid all those things, you'll be sure that 80% you have avoided a stroke. If your stroke may come because of the 20%, then it's minimal.
That, I'll be honest. Of late, I'm thinking of doing exercise, like buying some sport wears, and I start going to gym or running around, but I've not been doing exercise. I feel like I'm too lazy for it, and once I commit myself, I find myself like I don't want to wake out of the bed and just go around running. So I don't prefer exercise, because when I look at myself, I consider I'm slim, I'm on shape, so why do I need it?
I'll say exercise every day because of these schools there. Well, they are not like literally. Yeah. But swimming once in a while, that's the only exercise I can do apart from the stairs.
Okay, you can go to the gym.
No, gym now. So I think I'm not building a body, I'm just keeping healthy.
Okay.
Which I'm good.
As a person, I normally have a very tight schedule with me. But what I've tried to do, like for my 10 years old son, I've bought him a bicycle that he normally rides within the estates, and that one normally he normally does it on almost a daily basis after school. That is from 5 to 6, and then he also I've bought him a football where he plays with the colleagues around and about the estate there, and then. The girl also has a bicycle, but she's not a good rider. But what normally happens is that she tries to get help from the brother. So normally in the estate we have the roads. We don't have a playground, but the roads there are not that busy, so they normally do rounds of riding the bicycle and having this football. They normally play around with other children in the estate for normal exercises, and that one normally comes after their school and even after attending madrasa is when they normally have that time to play. So that is basically how they normally manage their day, and I normally try to facilitate whatever happens, like trying to repair the bicycles, as you know they did, and the way they normally mishandle those things. And then football, after every 6 months, you will end up buying it, just to allow them to have that physical exercise. And then the 4 years old, I normally jog with him because he's not yet at the same level with the other two. I normally jog with him while going to the mosque. I jog a little bit with him, just try to do just those small exercises to enable him to be somehow fit. So they hardly spend a lot of time in house. I normally give them free time to go and play with the rest of the children outside the house.
They don't, because most of the time, apart from I know my dad. My dad loves junk, and that could be one reason. Maybe he's diabetic, and at the same time he got hypertension. So it could be one of those, because he likes chips, lot of salt on his food, and sugary stuff. And at the moment he's kind of huge. So, and for him, when he got those diseases, he was at his 50s. So, but all along he used to be fine, free from any diseases. That's why I was thinking maybe it comes up with age. as you enter a certain age, you find yourself you are very prone to such diseases.
So things like, taking these artificial drinks like juices, better just take a natural juice. Just buy an orange, squeeze, and then take the juice if you are able. And in fact, it's very cheap compared to this artificial juice. And then let's try to eat things like cassava, arrowroots, and these what you call sweet potatoes. And then we try to eat meals that are less with fat content. Let's just avoid eating fried meals. Let's try to do a boiled meal, and I think we'll be able to maintain our healthy status.
So the first thing that we have engaged in is to try and quantify the level of risk factors. So we did that in a national survey 2 years ago in 2015, and so now we know how many Kenyans, the proportion of Kenyans that consume alcohol, the proportion of Kenyans who use tobacco, the proportion of Kenyans who eat a healthy diet, and we know their ages and where they come from. So that has been very helpful to help us now understand how Kenya looks in terms of risk of developing NCDs. And so what we have done, we have engaged partners to educate Kenyans. So we have had quite a bit of awareness forums. So we encourage partners in whichever areas they operate in to talk to the youth and focus on the youth, to encourage them to stop these behaviors, because when you stop those behaviors, then you reduce your risk of getting NCDs. Additionally, we are training our health workers. We have developed a curriculum specifically for NCDs to train health workers in the mashinani, for them to be able to recognize risk factors and early signs of those diseases, for them to start treatment early.
So I've decided that I need to change, because as your age progresses, it reaches a point whereby you have to focus on what you eat, so that to prevent yourself from such diseases. But I do believe maybe once in a while or once in a blue moon, it's not a bad thing, you can have it.
To my fellow youths, mi ningependa kuambia kuna vitu mob zinachangia stroke, since kama mimi nilipata nikiwa mdogo, but kuna wengine wanapata wakiwa umefika ile age, unapata tu as in it comes. Kitu ya kwanza, avoid easy food za mafuta hivi, hizi nyama hivi. Napata mtu haizi kula tuseme nduma, haizi kula ngwashe simply because that mimi sikulangi. Go back to hizi mafuta zenye zilikuwa zinakuliwa hapo awali. Hizo ndio zitatumika tukue strong na to avoid hiyo kupata stroke. Alafu the other thing, tukikuja kama tuseme for example breakfast, kuna wase wanasema ati wacha kukula breakfast, let's make tea with milk, na hiyo tea we buy bread, the white bread, we buy blue band. Remember, the white bread, the blue band, zote zinachangia. Hii maziwa hii, ukipika hiyo chai unataka tu kuweka sugar mob, avoid that. Since haujui what will be the next thing, I'll advise, kama you want to kunywa breakfast, don't go to chai ya maziwa with blue band, with whatever. Just kama kuna unga, take your porridge.
Any information that I will give is first hand. Yeah, first hand, because I have been affected by it. Yeah, so I could not whatsoever to have another person suffering from stroke, because stroke actually is a disease of the mind. It affects you. It affects the mind definitely, because it's like when you are going this way, you start going this way. this is that's why I call it an accident of the mind. Yeah? So I could not like, never should another person end up like me.
Reporting for Campus TV, I'm Cynthia Maseno.